I'm not a morning person. You may have to slap me a couple of times to get me going.
Look,
welcome to the club. Neither are we, and we're on mountain time right now.
Right.
I'm a late nighter.
Come on, Joe Gibbs is a late nighter?
Absolutely. All those football days, you wind up staying up all night. And so anyway, I like to get everything done at night and do not give me any shocks in the morning. So don't ask me anything real hard. Okay.
So basically, if Joe Gibbs were running NASCAR, you would say, let's push everything back to Saturday night racing.
I'm with you. Let's do that. I don't think we're going to get that vote, though.
No.
Freak Nation, Joe Gibbs has been coming in SpeedFreaks pits for several times over our last 25 years of doing this, and he's doing it again. And I put in a special request for you, Joe, for this one because of your tenured time with Interstate Batteries. And I want to give the Freak Nation some insight on really what it takes to continue to have a sponsor on the side of your race car for 3 decades, and really the blood, sweat, and tears you, your drivers, your team managers have to go through to have Interstate continue to be on the side of your car. Can you give us some backroom discussion, some insight on what it takes to keep a tenured relationship like Interstate Batteries?
Yeah, when our family, my 2 boys and Pat and all of us talked about getting in racing, we put a dream on a piece of paper and showed up on Norm Miller's doorstep. And that's 32 years ago. And think about that, to still have a partnership that's critical for us in racing. Our sport is totally different than football, basketball, and baseball. You've got to have a sponsor. And I say it's more than a sponsor, it's a partner. And that truly is what we are with Interstate Batteries. And think about a partnership like this that can go 32 years. We're still crisscrossing the country. Interstate is all across America in every county. And for us to represent them in front of our fan base and America, it's exciting for us. And to see their company be so successful over that period of time. And so we're just excited to have a company like this. I think we're setting a record right now in NASCAR to be together with a sponsor, your founding sponsor. You walk in our building, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see Interstate Batteries. And so it's just every time we're in the winner's circle, we're holding that green battery because they got us here. And so that's a little bit of our story.
Joe Gibbs, again, multi-time Xfinity Series, Cup Series, championship team owner, Super Bowl over and over and over, 3-time Super Bowl coach joining us here in the Freak Nation. And
hold on. Do you know how hard that is for Kenny to say? He's a Cowboys fan.
Well, he can't be a Cowboy fan. He's too good looking.
Oh, Joe.
That's my comeback. Okay. Every time I go someplace, you know what I hear?
What?
In the background, somebody yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" And so that's what after a while, that's what I yell back at them.
Well, you completely dislodged me from the question I was going to drop. But speaking of Dallas, I was born and raised in Dallas. And when I go back to Dallas over the last 20, 30 years, right there at 635 and 75, you see that big Interstate Batteries sign on that building. And I think Joe Gibbs Racing. You think of SpeedFreaks, you think of Lucas Oil and General Tires, 2 sponsors of ours over the last 20 years. And what it takes, Joe, it's Kenny Bernstein said it best to me 25 years ago. He said, Kenny, to me, he said, my best piece of advice, for every dollar your sponsors spend with you or partners spend with you, you give them $3 back. That's sage advice.
Yes, it does. And for you to stay in a relationship like this for this long, I think it's got to be great for both partners. Mm-hmm. Certainly, we hope it is for Interstate, and we think it has been. And so it's a close relationship. We do all kinds of things together besides being at the racetrack and hospitalities. And it's all of their distributors across America. A huge deal for us as we visit with them. Our complex here in Charlotte is used. Matter of fact, we just had the Interstate group in here 2 weeks ago, and our whole facility here is geared towards them. We have conference rooms. We have a theater-style auditorium. We can do a sit-down dinner here for 350. So our complex here is also geared for our sponsors. And Interstate, obviously, I think they fit our demographic also. Obviously, we're racing cars, and they're selling batteries. They keep cars going.
But Joe Gibbs, the sponsorship landscape over the last 20, 30 years has changed dramatically. How have you been able to keep them interested in the changing landscape? But then also, how have you been able to navigate them in and amongst other sponsors that you've needed to bring on board as they become partners with them?
Correct. One of the things we do is B2B. And so obviously with Interstate, that we also work with them in partnerships with Stanley Black & Decker and other companies we have. Saya just coming on board with us, a trucking company, 12,000 of those vehicles crossing America. You can see that B2B opportunities that we have, but also if you think about our fan base, I would say if there's probably a number one group of people that listen to races and is part of racing. When you turn on Sirius Radio to a NASCAR channel, it's the truckers across America.
Mm-hmm.
And so it fits. I think obviously Interstate has a fantastic product, and I think we have a fantastic partnership, and I think our fan base is extremely loyal. What has changed about sponsorship is it used to be that sponsors come into our sport and they take the whole car. What's happened now, normally it's not, that's not the case, but we have them taking a number of races. Interstate has all the way through our program for 32 years been a key part of us going forward in racing. We've won a Daytona 500 with them. We've won championships with them. And it's exciting for us. None of the sponsors that we have are satisfied to run in the back.
I hope not.
The thing they do to me is point that finger and go, we want to be up front. And so Interstate's been up front. I think our fan base too. They know Interstate. And so I think it's great that you say in Dallas, you've got that big Interstate sign. Mm-hmm. I think that's awesome for us. By the way, the one thing about the Cowboys, that people ask me, what do I miss most about the NFL? And honestly, that game is one of the things I miss the most, because when you go to play the Cowboys, everybody in America, you're either a Cowboy or you're a Redskin. There's nobody sitting on the fence. And let me say this. There's some real hate in that game when you play. Yep. So, and that's what the great rivalries are, what sports are all about. And so that rivalry certainly has it.
But Joe, hold on, Crasher. Joe, I didn't hate you. I hated other coaches before you because they were a-holes. Yeah. You weren't an a-hole, Joe. You were that kid that just kind of laughs, going, "Yes, I'm kicking your ass." You didn't give us anything to hate, Joe.
Okay, let me ask you. I think I coached around 30 games against the Cowboys. What do you think the record was? Hey, 15 and 15. Every time we won one, I said, okay, let's give them one.
Oh, you son of a...
That's not true, of course.
No, it's not.
But Joe, this passion and the way you guys are laughing and carrying on about the good old days, the passion does, like you just alluded to, fuel sports. So is there something in NASCAR? It's Denny Hamlin plays a good villain. He's your guy. Do we need more villains? More people? I don't like to use the word hate, but hate is passion. Do we need more of that in NASCAR, do you think?
I think each one of the drivers, it's their personality that comes out. It really is. And we've got some that, that fans would boo. We got some that, and obviously those fans for the very same driver will cheer. One time I was asked, one of the most popular drivers we had at that point, and the crew chief asked me, how come some people boo him? And I said, hey, listen, the most fans you're going to get in NASCAR would be what? The most popular driver. Yep. 15, 20%. The other 80 are going to boo him. So, but I think the great thing about our sports, you know what it is? That's the driver, that the fans are on one side or the other. Mm-hmm. You have the race teams themselves. You got people pulling for Hendrick and Penske and hopefully some for us. Okay, then you've got Ford, Chevy, and Toyota. Mm-hmm. And so pick your choice. You can pull or you can root against any of those three. And I think that's exciting too, because we're all competing. The manufacturer competing. Certainly we are as owners, and certainly are the drivers.
Let me guess, that driver that was being booed was probably Tony Stewart. Would you ever have imagined him when he started driving for you that he'd be racing a Top Fuel dragster?
I would not. But I got to tell you, if there's anybody that would do something like that, it's Tony. The whole time he was kind of with us, he was racing everything in the world. And I tried to get him off of it, but I wasn't. He is still Tony Stewart. And I think he's looking for new worlds to conquer.
Yes, so true.
Hey, Coach, let's end it with this. You go back to Dale Jarrett running the first Interstate insignia on the side of your car. You've won 500s. You've won championships. You won numerous races with Interstate on the side of your car. I think Interstate with Bobby Labonte in 2000 really put the Battery and Joe Gibbs on the map. Can you give me in about 60 seconds or less what it was like coaching Bobby Labonte versus coaching a Christopher Bell now?
Well, I think it's a lot like I relate it. I was in football, and you have quarterbacks. And generally, when you're working with somebody that's a young quarterback and seeing them develop, one of the greatest thrills is seeing them win. If it's Mark Rippon starting out with us, he was really set on the sidelines for 2 years, and to see him be the MVP of a Super Bowl in 91, what a great thrill that was. It was the same with Bobby. Bobby came on board, had not won a race, and I still remember here in Charlotte when he won the 600. I honestly don't think there was a dry eye in the winner's circle. Mm-hmm. Every single one of us. So it's a thrill to see that take place. Now, it's the same thing with a sponsor. Think about Interstate. They gambled, got into a sport with a football coach that I had no driver, no race shop, no nothing. And so for us to win, just like you said, one of the greatest thrills in our life was to win that Daytona 500 with Dale Jarrett in our second year. Mm-hmm. Thrills like that, that's what sports is all about. That's why we love it. And so that's the reason why we have everybody talking about it and cheering for their favorite team. And so I love that part of it. I get up in the morning and I get a thrill out of saying, I got a chance to go to the racetrack this weekend and race against, I want to try and beat Roger Penske, Rick Hendrick,
right,
Roush, and all these guys. And so I get a kick out of that. That's fun for me.
So do you slap Christopher Bell around like you did Bobby Labonte 25 years ago?
I don't know. Most of the time I think I work for the drivers. Think about this. They get to have all the fun. I tell them on pit road, they get in a race car. I said, you get to drive a race car and make a living. Everybody wants to drive a race car. The second thing is, if we win a purse on a weekend, they get half the purse. They pay 4 people to drive their motorhome and work around the house. I pay 400 people to work on a race car. So they make all the money. And then the third thing is they all got great looking girls. So I said, they got fun, money, and girls. So I think if anybody out there wants to get in racing, be a driver, not an owner.
Welcome to motorsports, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Joe Gibbs, how about them Cowboys?
Oh my goodness. That's hard for me to wake up to that. Okay.
No.
Joe, it's always fantastic, and I truly mean this to you, when you roll in the Freak Nation. We appreciate you taking time out to join us. We know you don't do it for everybody, buddy. But congratulations on your tenure with Interstate Batteries and your tenure in NASCAR.
Thank y'all so much. Thank you for having me on, and appreciate what you do for Interstate. Thank you.
See you, buddy.
All right. See you now.